Hi, my name is Sophia Chung, and I'm a student at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I've been working with Professor Beth Chance, and together we present to you our project, Use of Small-Scale Classroom Experiments to Inform Statistics Pedagogy in Tertiary Classrooms. Typically, research in education is done through observational studies, often focusing on end-of-course grades or exam scores. However, we decided to use smaller-scale focused experiments performed in genuine classroom settings. The goal of this project is to analyze the effectiveness of different teaching strategies in introductory college statistics classrooms, particularly ones that implement SBI, or simulation-based inference. The subjects of this project are students enrolled in a Cal Poly algebra-based introductory statistics course in spring 2022. These courses were taught by two professors, who each taught two sections. One professor taught in person and the other taught online. Two studies, each with 3 treatments, were carried out for this project. All treatments were meant for students to explore independently outside of class. And of course, due to the nature of this project, IRB approval was granted before data collection, and students were asked to complete a consent form at the beginning of the course. All right, so the first study discusses the terms population, sample, statistic, and parameter. The first treatment was a 2-minute video of the student's respective professor explaining the 4 definitions and walking through 2 examples. The second treatment was a module on the Learning Management System Canvas. The module defines the terms and has matching activity using drop-down menus that prompt students to choose the appropriate terms for 2 examples. The last treatment was a static reading covering the same topics. The second study was carried out about a month later as students were beginning to learn about comparing 2 proportions. This study included 2 video treatments. The first one is a demonstration of an applet. The second one is a voice-over PowerPoint animation of individuals being shuffled into groups. Both of these videos were created by different professors, and neither were the course instructors for this study. The last treatment was a subsection from the zyBooks adaptation of the course text. A zyBook is web-native interactive content intended to replace reading from a traditional textbook. And here is a sneak peek of what a completed animation from the zyBook looks like. In order to assess student understanding of the topics discussed, readiness quizzes were integrated into the existing course materials as much as possible. Let's look at the results, shall we? Here are the results for study 1. Feel free to pause the video here and take a deeper look at the data. And here are the results for study 2. Considering the small sample sizes and the preliminary nature of these studies, we can only offer preliminary trends found in the data. First, students generally performed well on the quiz from study 1, but they continued to struggle with concepts like parameter versus statistic throughout the course. Next, as we learned from study 2, students struggle with stating a correct conclusion for an insignificant p-value. They would choose incorrect answers like, "This provides evidence for the null hypothesis," or "We have a reasonable probability that the null hypothesis is true." We're thinking that oddly, these students answered incorrectly, perhaps more than students in a non-SBI course would. Another thing we learned from study 2 is that students struggled with answering why re-randomization is used in the simulation. They tended to answer with why random assignment is used in the study design. This may be evidence of student difficulty in distinguishing between the research study and the simulation model. One last point is that demonstrations that required more interaction of the students, like the zyBooks module, appeared to have some benefits. Moving on, I'd like to discuss improvements that can and should be made in the future. The main improvement to be made is collecting additional information on student fidelity. For instance, while Canvas would record how long students spent on the quiz as a whole, these were not timed assessments, and students often left the assignment open for many hours. For our purposes, we did find and remove students who had the quiz open for less time than the length of the video they were assigned. Also, the data from zyBooks indicated that many students did not fully participate in the module before moving to the actual quiz questions. Therefore, further exploration is needed to find the optimal level of authenticity without encouraging duplicity or other large changes in how different students interact with the material. Restricting the interaction to class time is one option and would ensure more uniformity, but also comes with other costs and can make assignment at the individual level more difficult. On a side note too, is that the groups from Canvas that were automatically assigned were very unbalanced. So we'd like to find a quick way to do the random assignment process. Here are our references and our acknowledgements, and we'd like to thank you for your interest in this topic. You can scan this QR code for some more numerical data, and of course, feel free to contact me at spchung@calpoly.edu. Enjoy the rest of the conference.